Computers do generate heat, and the Aurora generates a substantial amount. So Dell gave it at least 8, maybe 9 fans, creating a huge cooling airflow. But this much needed airflow brings with it lots and lots of dust, which then has the opposite effect of wrapping things in a nice woolly blanket, if allowed to accumulate. Dell advised the computer is cleaned out with canned compressed air in a static-free location while wearing an anti-static strap. They advise against vacuuming, as this can create static electricity and damage sensitive components. Also avoid the air acting upon the fans too much, as you could damage the fan bearings if they overspeed too much. So here is my son's Alienware Aurora, and it's probably quite dusty. I think it's about a year ago now since this was given a bit of a blowout. Okay then, so let's open this Aurora R4 Up and see what we have. So on this PC you just lift the rear flap up and the side drops away like so. So with that side cover off, we can see that we do need to open the graphics card door, and those 2 red panels will also need to be removed. And that couldn't be any simpler, because I think Dell did design this PC very well. And we can just pop that cover to one side and then take a look inside, and that's good news. I'm not going bald. So there is a bit of dust. It's not too bad, but definitely in need of a bit of a clean out. So we'll get on with that. Rather than use compressed air in a can, I'm going to use a 24 litre portable air tank, since I have an air compressor. I'll leave a link in the description. So this tends to work out a little bit more economical. So it's gone through a pre-water filter, because obviously I don't want water in that tank, and that should be ready. So I've got my little air blower nozzle there on the end of a recoil hose. So I'll just turn the air off for the moment. So now to remove the 2 side panels and the graphic card door. So this one's easy enough. The graphics card, you just push it in at the bottom. It's like a little metal spring, and that pops out. And then the power supply one, you just lift the catch there, and that moves to the side and off. And then I'll turn the PC around for this one. You squeeze the levers in and just slide it up and out of the way. Now inside that is actually a couple of AA batteries, presumably for the motherboard. So we'll just leave that there. Now I've got the fan here that I'm going to remove. Now there's a wire going down to the motherboard, so we do need to disconnect that before we pull it up and break it. So if you notice the wire, that's the anti-static wrist strap that's going to the blue mat underneath, so that we don't give any static electricity to any of the sensitive components on the motherboard. So I'm now just going to try and unhook this little clip here that's holding the wire to the hard drive fan. So we'll take that drive out. That's an SSD. But I do want to get this side fan out. That's one thing with the Alienware. They certainly did put enough fans to try and ensure it doesn't overheat. And that's pretty dusty as well. I don't think I've ever cleaned that one. So that'll be the first for that one. So I actually forgot to put my wrist strap on at this point, which obviously you should do. So I'll slow this down, so hopefully you can get an idea of the dust that's actually coming off this. And then I'll go over that with a soft brush. So there's plenty of dust on there. So I've now put my anti-static strap back on. And what I'm using there, well, that's compressed air. But what I'm using here is some detailing brushes that you can commonly buy for a car. Again, I'll probably leave a link in the description for anyone that's interested in those. So that fan now looks pretty clean, certainly looks cleaner than it was. So one thing you have got to be very careful with when using an air compressor over canned air is that you could get that fan to go to some crazy speed. I mean, a turbocharger on a car can get up to about 150,000 RPM. So you could probably do the same with that and obviously completely destroy the bearings. So you do need to hold the fan with your finger when you actually start blowing air onto it. Even though it is quite good fun to watch it spin up. Something you shouldn't do. So, put the wrist strap on this time, and very carefully with the air. There's quite a bit of dust there to blow off. Ideally I would have put a little brush in that just to stop the fan from rotating, because like I say, you don't want to spin them up too fast. That's a bit harder to get out. You could really do with that metal guard off it, but it's certainly better than what it was. I'll give it a little bit more air. I'll try and just sort of give it sharp blasts so I don't spin that fan too much. Or better still, pop a little brush in there, stop the fan moving. So that's the main fan really. Before I clean the dust out on this one, it looks like someone's been camping in this PC. But anyway, this is all going to go now. So this is the front of the PC. Plenty of dust there. And as you note, those vents are effectively blocked. So the computer is going to be trying to cool itself and not able to get the airflow to do it. So hopefully it will be able to breathe after this. So that should be the spider's cobwebs out. So we can now pop the main fan in. I know there's a bigger fan at the back, but presumably that's mostly to cool the processor. I mean, this is the main one at the front. And then we can just slot this panel back in, which contains those two AA batteries. Like so. We'll get some more air in now. And do that main fan at the back for the CPU. There's a fair bit of dust in that one as well. So I wasn't able to stop that fan from rotating, so I tried to go backwards and forwards to try and oscillate the fan as opposed to turning the fan. And I think that worked. Get a little brush in there as well, just to try and clean some of those little holes there. Notice I'm actually wearing ear protection because compressed air can be extremely loud and not good for your hearing. So I think this is the little fan for the memory. It's just above 2 memory chips. Not sure what that one's for. See how quick it span up then. So hopefully it might actually run a little bit faster, because it might have been cutting itself back to try and prevent itself from overheating. And then the top of the PC, again there's plenty of dust in there. And this is in less than a year. I mean, okay, it's used a fair bit. But as you can see, imagine if you left this for a few years. Crikey. I don't think the thing would be able to breathe at all. Okay, so I think we're on to the graphics card. So now to carefully remove the graphics card, making sure to wear the static wrist strap. So with our wrist strap definitely on for the video card, We just need to take the 2 screws out, and there's a little hook at the back of the card, and then we can withdraw that. Ideally, we'd probably take that cover off, but just for this video I'll keep it on. Hopefully there's not too much dust inside this. Sometimes there's a couple of fans on these. This is probably quite an old video card now in today's terms. Definitely trying to keep that fan from spinning. That one would go pretty fast. Right, so we can pop that back in. There's another little fan at the bottom there, which I also cleaned very carefully. So that's now back in. The power supply's on, and we can put the little plastic cover there, pop that back into position, and then put the door back on, which clips in, and one cleaner PC. You probably could do a bit more in depth on that, but as a general basic clean, I would say that was probably okay. Get a little clean out on the outside, and I think that's job done. Now for a little fun with high pressure air and some old fans. Let's get some air. About 8 bars should do. The old ear protection and the air gun and the fan. Gone. It's just exploded. Okay, attempt number 2. And here's your answer to why dentist drills sound like they do. Oh! That's at the dentist. Yeah. I think they use air. Very high speed. That's better. And here's some photographs and other information. So these are the before photos, where there was a fair bit of dust, especially on that fan, and there, and the old spider. This video was removing dust from your Dell R4 Aurora. And thank you for watching, and hope this video helped you have a better insight into cleaning your PC. This video was filmed and edited by me, Mark Savage, in February 2021. I'm also available on Instagram and Facebook under Coats and Gators. So this is for you, Luke. Here is the original spec of your Alienware Aurora R4. At the 3rd stroke, the time, sponsored by Accurist, will be 10, 22 and 40 seconds. Beep, beep, beep.